Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first subject of the third semester. So, we are going to study Genesis 1 as the first subject of the third semester. Yeah, Genesis 1. And then next time we are going to deal with Genesis 2. In Genesis 1, we are going to cover from chapter 1 to 11. And Genesis 2 covers from 12 to 50. Yeah, Genesis. All the Christians are very familiar with Genesis. The word Genesis means origin, the beginning. And because Genesis starts from the verse, the word in the beginning, Breshit means head in Hebrew. Breshit bara Elohim. Yeah. So many Christians and scholars think that the author of Genesis is Moses. Yes, of course, it is Moses. Genesis is written based on the tradition or teaching of Genesis. But not only the Moses is the author, but also because throughout the history of Israel, especially in the Old Testament, actually it is added up and then edited. Yeah, so there are some editors. We don't know who are they, but probably there are some scribes, something like that. So under the king of Hezekiah, and yeah, some kings like that. So we can say the author is Genesis. The author of Genesis is Moses. But not only Moses, but there are some editors, right, to complete the whole book of Genesis. Then who are the reader of Genesis? Of course, the first reader will be it's like the second generation of Israel who were born in the wilderness. Yes, yeah, but also throughout the history of Israel. So Israel is the reader, and especially, but I want to focus on actually this reader. Actually, when Israel was taken to Babylon, so they had no temple there, right? It is alien land, right? It is totally different circumstance, with full of idols, with full of idols and a very different culture, which is very related to idol worshiping. Yeah. So religious teachers of Israel strongly felt that they need to teach the people in the land of Babylon, especially there was second generation or third generation of Israel who were born in the land of Babylon, right? So these people were surrounded by Babylonian God, supreme God is Marduk, and so many idols are in Babylon. So that's why the religious teachers need to teach Israel, second, third generation of Babylonian of Israel born in Babylon, about God. God is right. God is the God of all universe. God is the one who created all things, the sun, the moon, the stars, everything, the sky, everything, man, animals, everything. Yes. And this God of creation is Elohim. This Elohim God is Adonai, God of Israel. Okay? I think, I want to say that, from in Genesis 1, I mean, Genesis part 1, from 1 to 12, 11. So that's Elohim God, creation God, right? God is Elohim, that is the God of creation, but he is the God of Israel, who is Adonai, Yahweh. Yeah, that's very important. So this message was very, very encouraging to the next generation of Israel in Babylon. They were really susceptible. They were susceptible to getting a lot of knowledge about Babylonian myth, Babylonian gods and goddesses. Therefore, there are a lot of temptations, right, to compromise with this God worshiping. So the editors or the religious teachers needed to teach these things and also need to edit, right, and put on some more word based on Moses. So that's the situation. Yeah. In Babylon, the first god, the supreme best god is Marduk. It is said that in Babylonian myth, it says that Marduk destroy Tiamat. The Tiamat is the god of the water or god of sea. So Tiamat, and then Marduk killed Tiamat, and then he created with his corpse, dead body. Yeah, this is that's why Babylonian people believe that Marduk is the creator. But no, for it is all myth. Basically, myth is not truth. It is no truth at all. So in Babylon, so the people of Israel need to keep learning God, creator God, and Yahweh God, God of Israel, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, Joseph, God of patriarchs. They had to learn these things. And yeah, so this is the situation of the background or situation of the reader. Then how about structure of Genesis? We can divide it can be broken into two parts. First part from 1 to 11. Second part from 12 to 50. So from 1 to 11, there's a creation story and a flood story and Babel Tower story. So a story, we say in theological terms, we use narrative, creation narrative, flood narrative, and Babel Tower narrative. And then second part, chapter 12 to 50, there are three narratives. First one is Abraham narrative. Second one is Jacob narrative. third one is Joseph narrative. And we don't have Isaac narrative because it is Isaac narrative. We cannot say it is narrative because Isaac is sandwiched between Abraham and Jacob. Abraham's story is very huge portion, and Jacob narrative also is huge portion, and Isaac's just shortly, very very briefly referred. So we cannot say it is narrative. So there are three narratives. Once again, Abraham narrative, Jacob narrative, and Joseph narrative. Yeah, this is the second part. So then next one. How can we interpret Genesis? How can we study? How can we interpret Genesis? We should study and interpret the book of Genesis in comparison with ancient Near Eastern epic. Epic is a long story about gods and goddesses, right? It's like there is a Gilgamesh epic, Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah, many. Yeah, in Mesopotamian epic, a lot of in Mesopotamia, and even in Canaan, there are many epics. Yeah. So the people of Israel are very, very well known. They are acquainted with this ancient Near Eastern epic or myth. They know Israel. They know the Canaan, Baal and Asherah, the story. Yam is the god of sea in Canaan, and Marduk, Tiamat, all these types of gods and goddesses. Yeah, so they are well known with this, actually. Because also in the ancient Near Eastern myth or epic, they have a creation story, and in Canaan, there's a creation story. In Mesopotamia, there's a creation story. Also, a flood story. In Canaan, also flood story. Many. So even the book of Genesis also implies, right, this background, this epic, right? It's like Leviathan. What is Leviathan? Yeah, Leviathan is Yam. I told you that is the god of Canaan. What? It is the god of water, god of sea. God of sea is Leviathan, right? That in if you see like book of Job or even book of Psalms, then God destroyed Leviathan, right? God destroys it. So it's like in the Old Testament already this ancient Near Eastern epic or myth is already implied in many verses. So we should study, it's called comparative study with ancient Near Eastern epic or myth. Then we can understand much better why Moses or the editors wrote this way. Yeah. So okay, so in the next session we are going to start with chapter 1 and 2. Okay, this is the very brief introduction of Genesis 1. Thank you very much.